It better not cut us out. It better leave us right where we are. I don't know if it's gonna let us stay. Y'all, I'm stuck fighting with Facebook because apparently Facebook don't have music rights in different countries and stuff. So I don't know how this is gonna go, Coach Cheryl. It's gonna be a long one. 'Cause we can't be arguing with Facebook today. It's just too early of a day to have to argue with Facebook. Nonetheless, let me unmute you. Before I say good morning, Coach Cheryl.
Good morning, Minister D.
I hope I don't have to go back and forth with Facebook. It's too early in the morning.
Yeah, I
for
really
a
don't
fight
want you to
with
have to
Facebook.
fight. I mean, you know.
I know, man. I said today is gonna be a peaceful day. See, the song says when you fight, you will win. I think I'm gonna win. I'm gonna have to win. I'm gonna have to win this one. So,
Okay.
nonetheless,
We
it
have
is,
the victory. We had a victory
oh man,
somewhere.
you sound just like a church person. Just like a church person. We have the victory.
Well,
We
I
will
mean, I just thought
upset
I'd
the
throw that
enemy
in.
in this season. We will. We are more than conquerors. I believe. I believe.
We are. We are.
We are. We are. I believe that. How did your weekend go? How was it?
It was quiet.
It was quiet. I mean, did you expect noise this weekend?
I mean, you know, it's something exciting, but no, I mean,
Do you know what a noisy weekend? Like, what's a noisy weekend for you? Like a noisy day. Period. Like, what does that look like?
it wouldn't be noisy, but I mean, you know, when you got grandkids running all over the place or,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah, you
that
definitely
kind of,
qualify.
you know, or you go somewhere and you're out in the mall or, see, I don't do that much either, but
Wait,
anyway.
you don't do the mall?
Yeah. Huh?
You don't do the mall?
Not very often unless I'm going to get something. I
I can't
mean,
believe you don't do the mall. That's a new one for me. I would think you would do the mall. Most grandparents, they do the mall from time to time. I guess my aunts, my aunt Gloria, she's like, well, when I was coming up, she was a mall queen. I didn't know what a mall was about. Like she was a Macy's girl. One day I caught her shopping in Macy's. I don't even know why I was in that Macy's, but I ran into her inside the Macy's, and
mhm.
yeah, she loves that
You
place.
know, I used to work by a Macy's, and I might run in there to go use the restroom or something.
But never the shop.
You know,
Never the shop.
I shop every now and then. I'm just
Uh-huh.
not a shopper. I know that's
Okay, that makes.
unusual. You know, most people don't, but I'm not a
I mean, well, no, it's not unusual because I know a lot of people that are not shoppers that really don't do the mall. I'll say even for me, I didn't do the mall until I was in Houston, and I felt like everything I needed to grab needed to come from the mall. But that was short lived because I mean, next thing you know, here's Amazon and all this other stuff, and then when we moved, well, I think coming from a small town. Like Orange, I just anything that you was really gonna get that was gonna be nice came from the mall. I mean,
mm. Is
in my
that where you
hometown,
is that where you
Walmart.
develop those bougie tendencies?
Gosh, my bougie tendencies.
Mm.
Coach Cheryl. First of all, we would not be on here cursing. That's a curse word. Don't say it again now, okay? Because next time you say it, I'm gonna have to bleep you out, because that's
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm gonna
no,
leave you alone. I'm gonna leave you alone.
no. I don't. You know what? I don't think I really developed any. of my bougie tendencies from growing up in Orange. I think it was just over time.
No, I
You know.
mean when you came to Houston, and it's
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
sticker
Houston.
shock.
Yeah, yeah,
Go to the
definitely.
mall, and
Definitely. I was in the mall in Houston a lot. I was Sharpstown Mall, the Gallerias when I realized, okay, now maybe I need to step back now. I'm trying to step up too big. I'm
right.
walking in stores like Fendi and Gucci, and I mean, I'm just walking in them. I couldn't do nothing with them. I was just stepping inside the store. I mean, I was so glad to be there. I was very glad. I mean, they knew I ain't had no money. By the way, I walked in all excited. I mean, so humble and grateful for the opportunity to enter into this room. I mean, this is amazing. They used to look at me like, "Are you gonna buy something?" No, 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 absolutely not. It took too many paychecks. I went to Fendi every weekend to make sure the same pair of glasses was on the shelf until I could come
Mm.
back and get them. And at that time, they were only like $300 and some dollars. But it was like
And they don't go on sale.
they I was waiting on them. You know what they do? They just go out of style, and that's
Right.
it. They just take them off the shelf and move on to the next style. And
Mhm.
yeah, but no, YouTube, not YouTube, Houston kind of pulled me into the Bougetto phase of life. Yeah,
Okay.
Houston.
Is that what
I
it
could
was?
I could accredit that to Houston. I was fine until I got to Houston. But no, and I'm not bougie. I don't think I'm bougie. 'Cause you always saying I'm bougie. Like, what makes me bougie? I'm probably bougetto, but I don't think I'm bougie. I'm bougie with a hint of ghetto. Like I will say my only bougie trait that I can acknowledge is I cannot see myself going to a hotel and walking out the door and I'm right outside. I just don't understand why they would even do this to somebody. I mean, literally, you walk outside and you are in the natural elements. That is
Wait
not
a minute.
okay to me.
Wait a minute. So now there's a difference between a hotel and a
Oh,
motel.
motel. That's what it was then.
Most-
We was at a motel.
yeah, you was at the wrong place.
And I wasn't gonna go tell nobody that. I mean, that was no way I couldn't do it. I don't understand how anybody does it. Just walk out. My cousin, we
Well, they
drove.
can park right in front of the door.
Man, look here. Valet me, please, because I don't need to park in front of the door. Who needs the front door? You can just valet, park at the front, park in a garage, but do not put me at a hotel that as soon as I
Motel.
walk out, yeah, that too. What is the difference in a motel and a hotel? I mean,
The
why do
door.
why why do motels even exist? That's my question. Who came up with the bright idea?
Somebody likes that. I mean, that's what they had first. Motel.
Oh
You
man.
had the Motel 6, the whatever that 8 thing is. Mhm.
Uh-uh. I'm not understanding. I don't my life it's not coming together for me. What's up, big sis Patrina? Good to see you. It's not coming together for me. I couldn't understand how that worked. If I'm just being honest, it just never. Yeah, and then that's probably my only bougie. That's my only bougie trait.
Okay.
Coach, what is your bougie trait? What's something you do that people think
I'm
is
not bougie.
Coach? What? You know,
I didn't even buy my children name brand stuff. I say sit on
I
your
didn't
own,
buy. I didn't
sit
either.
on your own name. Put your own name on your butt.
What? Hold on, Coach. Put your own name on your butt.
Yeah. You don't have to sit on nobody else's name. Sit on your own name.
Oh Lord! Did they ever
Like
do it?
you.
Did they put their own name on their butt? Did they ever go and get the clothes that had their name? I would love to see a pair of Natto jeans. Jeans made by Natalie. Natto jean, Natto wear. Like, did they ever do it? Did they ever
They
go out?
never
Or
took my advice. They
they
never
never,
did.
the advice never came through.
I mean, because we'd probably be rich by now if
If
they
they would have
had.
taken your advice.
Right.
Had
Yeah.
they taken your advice, then the riches would have flowed. Well, listen, I wish you best of luck in those endeavors.
Hey, that's on them now. It's not on me.
Well, that's true. It's beyond you now at this point. It is their life, their choice. Did you ever explore or think or feel the need to be creative and do all those good things coming up? Like, did you ever feel like you had that spark?
The spark to do what?
You
I
know,
mean,
to
I used to
create.
sew. I used to make I used to make my
What?
clothes,
You
make my
was a
kids' clothes.
sewist?
Yeah.
Oh, Coach Cheryl, bless your heart.
So I designed stuff. Yeah.
Oh well, see, you was on the road. You was on the road.
Hmm.
I never graduated. I mean, I don't know. My grandmother sewed, but it wasn't clothes. She was stuck on quilts. She just wanted everybody to have some cover. She didn't care if you had some pants and a shirt. She wanted you to have something to sleep under. I mean, that's all my grandmother did was quilts. And that wasn't knitting. That's what that was. But I mean, she could have put a sweater together for somebody for something. I mean, this woman sit up here and had quilts for days. But I
But that's a
understood
good
that.
thing though, because they really came in handy.
Yeah,
And they
man,
can make some beautiful quilts now.
man, yeah, and they were good and heavy.
Ah,
They were heavy. I mean, heavy laden. I mean, you get up under one of my grandmother quilts, and there was no getting up. You know, it was very thick. I mean, there was no oxygen under this thing. I mean, oh man, you woke up and you felt like you was in a sauna. It just never
yeah.
made sense to me. I
Yeah,
don't even know.
when the ice storm happened a couple of years back
Whew.
and the lights went out, me and my grandbaby got up under one of them, but we had to come from under there.
In an ice storm. Now
In
you
an
know
ice
that's bad.
storm, we couldn't
That's
stay under
bad.
that cliff.
In an ice storm, you had to come from up under the quick. That Coach, Sher, come on now. Come on. That's
Woo,
bad.
it was hot.
That
It
is
was hot.
that is every bit of bad. I mean, I don't. I'm not here to judge, Coach. I'm not judging you. I'm just telling you, you quilts. I wish she would have made some shirts, some pants, something you can grow out of. You know, this woman was making every time a child was
But they
born.
last. They last.
Yeah,
You grow out of the
yeah,
clothes.
yeah. That's true. That's true. I can honestly say you do grow out of the clothes, but she could have just sold some extra sizes up in there. Hey, I'm a 38 now. Can you go ahead and sew me up about 8 more sizes? Sure, baby, I got you. Sit down right there. It wouldn't have been no problem. But that woman wasn't interested in that. No, she wanted everybody to sleep under them brick wall quilts. And then when she throw it on, you knew it was heavy because she struggled to cover you up in it.
Yeah,
She
by the
was
time they
so
put all that
frail.
downing in there, and it's like, yeah,
Oh man, she was so frail. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand. I'm sorry. I love her to death. I still love her. I just don't know if I could ever forgive her for them quilts though.
now you loved her to death.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved her to the day she died. Yes. She's gone already. So yes, I loved her to death. Did us
Oh,
part.
okay. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good.
I can't love her to life because I'm telling you now, as much as I love her, if sis rolls up right now and knocked on this door, I'm done. This is over. There ain't
Yeah,
no question about it.
that's what I always said. I always told God, I was like, look, I don't need none of my dead relatives coming in.
I
I
be
can't
sitting,
handle that.
man, I be sitting at funerals, they be like, don't leave me. I be like, let them go. Let them go, dog. Don't even do it. I was at a funeral one time and the mom was like, baby, just get up for mama. I was like, sis, well, you better let us get up out of here. You better let us leave, and you and your baby can have whatever moment y'all trying to have, but you gonna have to let us get up out of here. Because if not, we all gonna have to go in that casket, because I wasn't gonna make it. Tell me, please, one more time. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. That's my cue. They said, you singing next. I said, not if he getting up. Not if he getting up. I'm not singing next. I tell you that. I tell you right now. Give her the mic. Give him the mic. But I'm gonna be out the door. No.
Right. I don't need no my great grandmother. Nobody come sitting on the side of my bed at no 3
Oh
o'clock in the
man.
morning because
My
I
cousin
can't.
used to be like, I hope they come visit me in my sleep. I said, not me. Nah, listen, my daddy tried that one time, and I said, let me wake up. Player, no, you listen, if they gonna let you rest in peace, you gonna let me rest in peace. Please, I got somewhere to be in the morning. I'm gonna need you to back up out this dream, sir. So,
No, it's just a dream. It's okay. I
no,
can do the dream.
no, cause see, dreams get real. They get real quick, and I don't know if I have the ability to tolerate. Now as I got older, I could handle. I seeing my father in a dream. It wasn't hard to have a dream and he's there, but it took me a long time to actually get to a place where that was like, okay, I'm coming. My mom talks about how her mother used to come and visit her in her dreams in clown suits, and my mother's afraid of clowns. So I just thought, what kind of child was you that somebody come visit you in a clown suit, knowing you scared of clowns? You know, I just, I never understood it. But no, I'm not one of them people neither. I'm like that. If somebody's gone, I'm gonna have to let them go. I just don't have a choice. I
Right.
don't. I wish I could turn back the hand of time, but I definitely don't want them to come back in time, because then I'm gonna be out of time. So, that's up for me. I'm just telling you that right now. We done. This conversation is over.
Right.
But everybody have their everybody has that though, and some people do. They see for loved ones in dreams, and loved ones visit them, and I think it's a special thing when it happens. Now I can handle it. Back then I couldn't, because it was just very scary to think about it. I remember my great grandmother died. My grandmother said, "Now everything you do wrong, she gonna see it." So one day I was lying about something, and my grandma said, "You lying?" And I said, "Lord Jesus, my great grandma can see this." So I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she was like, "Uh huh." Why you told the truth? I said, "Cause you told me the woman could see it." I was in there stealing some of her she had these little chocolate things, these little chocolate covered peanuts that she loved, and she hated for anybody to touch them. I stole about a handful of them, and so
So you was a
anytime.
bad kid. Is that what you
Oh,
say?
I was very bad. Growing up, I was just not a
You
good
wasn't
kid.
one of them baby kids,
No, I was worse than Bebe's kids,
Oh,
because I
oh.
was very disrespectful. I didn't listen to my grandmother. I was raised by older people, so in my mind, I'm like, if I run, they can't catch me. I mean, I can get away from a whipping around here, but my grandmother wasn't a whipping type. She was a throwing type. She'd wait till you turn your back and throw the stick at you, hit you in the middle of the back, and lay you out. That was the type of person she was. So it was they had their ways of discipline, but I still wasn't a good child. I was very disrespectful and disobedient. I was horrible. But God changed me. He changed me.
No.
My mouth has always been the very much so hard to. You had to be very tough to deal with my mouth, because if not, we was gonna fight. You know, my grandmother used to tell me, you have to know how to fight, because your mouth is gonna make people want to put their hands on you. And I said, well, that's okay. I'll make sure I know how to fight then. And I did. I made sure I knew how to fight, because I needed my hands to match my mouth. And so, in case you got too mad and it made you resort to violence, I can match your energy, and we gonna go ahead and get this out the way. But
I'm so glad God delivered you. Somewhat. No, you're a work in progress. And that's all we're gonna say about that. Okay.
my deliverance, I'm doing great. I'm walking in it. I'm walking. I'm nowhere near. Man, some of the things I've seen or dealt with here in like recent times, I think if I had not been in a place that I am, I'm still very honest about how I feel with things. I'm not as honest. I'm not. I used to. I had this mentality that I ain't letting nobody make it. You ain't gonna say what it. I didn't care who you was. I didn't care. Listen, I didn't had it, or you name it. I didn't had an argument with him. I didn't like authority at one point. You know, it took me a long time, and then like now that I'm in that space where I'm more so you expect or desire to be coached, and whatever the case is, you know, people don't. You know, it be hard. They don't be there like that. So, I think it's just a process and it's a journey to get to that place. Were you a bad kid?
No.
You were good. You did everything you were told.
Yeah.
Oh, oh. Well,
No.
look at Coach Cheryl. She was a good kid. I
I,
tried.
I stayed out the way. I stayed out the way. So, yeah.
Well,
I
you
didn't
know,
want to
I
be
think
anybody's center of attention. I didn't like that kind of attention. So.
you didn't like attention. See, and I wasn't a fan of attention, but it was always there. You know, I think primarily because of singing and those type of things, it just made it. It just became one of those things that it was gonna be present regardless. Like it was gonna be something that I would have to deal with regardless. You know, so. But I to this day I thank God for my grandmother. She really was the driving force, like that taught me how to get through and how to be better.
Right.
One thing I think, let me tell you, I think my turning point came when my grandmother caught dementia and Alzheimer's, because I was at a place in my life where I was ready to just, I wanted to thank her for her sacrifice and her love and all of that. And it was clear that naturally she couldn't remember that, or she wasn't in a place where she could receive it, because she didn't understand what was happening,
Mm.
and I think that's the one thing I regret. That's the one thing that made me look at my life and say, yeah, this could have been better, or
Right.
you could have done this one. You should have gotten home sooner, but I didn't get home soon enough. I got home
Right.
at 21, 22, and my grandmother's condition had progressed. And then a year later, she was gone. She had died. So
Mhm.
that to me was the toughest thing, because I was only a bad kid because I knew she could tolerate me. She was the one person I could be loud, outrageous, disrespectful, be the worst of myself, and she would still find a way to say I love you and
Mhm.
encourage me to be better. And
Mhm.
and so yeah. So yeah, but that's life. I'm glad you was a good kid though. I'm glad you was a good kid, because I wasn't so good.
Well, I don't know if I. Yeah, I would have to say, I try to stay out of trouble.
Oh, well, you did good. You did good, coach. Look at you. Look at you now, years later, and you made it. You made it. All right. Well, today is as soon as these rowdy boys calm down. Today is every bit of September the 12th, and yesterday was September the 11th. And so one of the cool things that we want to do is take some time to remember 9/11. Listen, I think everyone knows where they were at what point in time in their life when, of course, you heard that 9/11, or you heard that the trade towers, World Trade Centers had been hit. Coach Cheryl, do you remember where you were when 9/11 happened? Well,
Yes.
turn that out
Yeah.
though. You do.
Mhm.
So, exactly where were you? Like, give me the rundown of that day for you.
Um, I think I was at home, and something happened, or I heard, or somebody. I don't remember. Somebody called me or whatever, and then, you just kind of turn the TV on, and you're hearing all of this, and you kind of just like in awe. You just kind of stuck there. It's like two things that happened that really kind of drew me in, just like this. So yeah, that was kind of a unbelievable day. Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably for. I remember it because I was probably 11 years old. I was 11 years old, and I was at school. No, was I 11? I was in middle school. some kind of way. I don't remember. I was in middle school, and we were living in Leeds, Alabama, and we were in class. And when the first tower hit, nothing. I guess nothing was said. So then, when the second tower hit, they had changed all the TVs in the classroom were on the news, and we were looking. No, we were looking at the aftermath of the first tower, and about 20 minutes later or so, we seen live on the news as they were watching the second plane hit the building. And I don't know, my young mind just said, this is historic, and life is going to change. And that was, I guess, knowing that, I guess looking at that building and kind of hoping no one was in there, but knowing someone was in there was a lot. That was a lot to process and take in, and so I think that's the one thing I pray that our generation or the generation behind us never forget. You know, it's kind of like Pearl Harbor and some of the other things that, you know, happens in history that you wish that it's never lost on the future. 9/11 is one of those things that I pray is never lost on the future. I pray that for as long as life continues, that somewhere the generations afterward would stop and observe this day or observe 9/11 because it's probably one of the hardest days I think I've ever witnessed on TV or even afterward. I remember when I went to New York for the first time, that was the one thing I had to do. I had to get to Ground Zero to see the memorial. And that was a life-changing experience. When you see those names, Coach Cheryl, we got to go. I think you free tomorrow?
Yeah. I went, but it was before it was a memorial.
You went when it was actually still Ground Zero.
Yeah.
Really? What was that like?
It was so somber. It was like it was so quiet there as people kind of milled around and just to think about what had happened and to think about the lives that had been lost. And when I got on the subway, you know, they had the I don't know if they were police or they had military walking around with their AK assault rifles and all of that.
How many years after 9/11 was this?
I'm not sure. It wasn't like I said, it was before they started building up. I mean, they kind of had excavated where the towers or they got rid of the rubble, but they had not started building. So whenever year that was, I don't remember. I have to go back and look, but
Yeah, I think that's a memory that for me I'm just attached to because I'm like, you know, for the rest of my life, I will always remember September the 11th, and I will always remember the impact that it had on my life. So, if we can, I would ask everyone to make sure your family or your loved ones or you know those closest to you, you know, at least know about the lives lost. I know there's a lot of theories and all that you know we entertain, but the biggest thing for me, I guess, beyond all of that, is the fact that someone or a life was lost, lives were lost, and that to me is bigger than the theories of why it happened, how it happened. None of that matters when you factor in the fact that beyond and above all that, innocent lives were taken that day. And I couldn't imagine getting on a plane and that's where it's headed. I couldn't imagine being on the elevator and it happened. I couldn't imagine sitting down for dinner and staring down a Boeing 737 that's headed right into a building. I couldn't imagine knowing that today is the last day or that I'll hear my loved one's voice or the last day that they'll hear mine. I couldn't imagine it. And so many people probably couldn't imagine it, but they had to live it. I could not imagine taking down a plane so that, you know, in effort to save the country. I couldn't imagine United 93 going down in Pennsylvania. Nor could I imagine those those lives that were lost at the Trade Center. All of that unimaginable, and beyond whatever the theories are, the conspiracies are, real lives were lost, real families were affected. And what most may not realize is the aftermath of 9/11, the cancer and all of that people had to deal with after 9/11, that unimaginable that you would see that people would have to deal with long-term health issues as a result of surviving the most dramatic day of their life. And so those funds or the government funding of that is shifting. So there are a number of ways that we can donate or contribute to that cause. And so I think, if you find a space to donate or contribute to it, then make sure you do that. There's a number of charities that offer donations to 9/11 survivors. I recommend looking them up. There's Beyond 9/11. There's Our Voice Together. There's the September 11 Families and Peaceful Tomorrow Foundation. There's so many ways and avenues that you can contribute your dollar, $1, $2, $3, whatever you give. It's enough to help those victims and those families. So we send our love to every family member, every person that is, in some way or another, life has been shaped and changed as a result of 9/11. So, yeah.
Great.
All right, Coach. Well, listen, last thing, and I'm letting you go for today. We're talking about toxic relationships. Why do we pick? Why are we talking about this? Are you in a toxic relationship that we need to?
Why are we talking about toxic relationships?
Coach Cheryl, do you know what a toxic relationship looks like? Like, have you ever encountered a toxic relationship of any kind? Because I think people think toxic relationships are just that of those of people you date, but it's bigger than that. There's more to a toxic relationship than just that, right?
Yeah, it is very much so. Any relationship, anytime that you try to bring two people together and they're going pulling in the opposite direction, that's toxic.
So can you avoid? Do you feel like you can avoid a toxic relationship? I don't necessarily believe that a toxic relationship can be avoided.
But when
That's
it can, if you look at the red flags, if you look at the flags, if you look at the signs,
oh, that's
and
true.
you have your borders set up, your boundaries set
Your
up,
boundaries.
yeah, then you can avoid them. I think you can.
Now that is good. Your borders and your boundaries. I think now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if people ever stop and make sure that their borders are set and their boundaries, because I don't think boundaries and being guarded are the same thing. I think you should be sure that your borders don't become walls, you know, because a border is not always having a wall up. I think we think that if I have my walls up, that's my border. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Well, it depends. I mean, I think it kind of depends on your relationship with um, your creator. Who were you created to be, and how do you walk in that truth? And then when something comes that's contrary to that,
Mm-hmm.
then you just I think a lot of times people get into those toxic relationships because it's something that they're missing or something that they want, and they compromise. And they're saying, I'm gonna get in
I
this
can see that.
relationship. Um, oh, I just love them, or I care so much about them, but they don't care anything about you. But then you compromise. So, it's a one-sided type
Relationship.
relationship.
Have you ever had a toxic relationship?
Oh, yeah, sure. Uh-huh.
I feel like we use this show to easily get all in your business. Just
Yes, you
ah,
do. Yes, you do. All you gotta do is read the book. Just read the book.
Read the book, people. It's in her book, Pushed by Pain into Purpose. That's so funny. Now when people ask you these questions, you just that's your answer. Yeah, it's in the
Yeah,
book.
just read the book.
It's-
Just read the
I'm
book.
not
I
gonna
don't
tell
have to
you.
go through all.
She using her whole life to market now. Folks be like, "Have you ever had a bad day? It's in the book. Read the book. You'll see it. You'll see what kind of day I done had before. It's in the book."
But really, when I'm talking to people, though, I can use my life experience. I don't even have to tell them about the book, but I
Right.
can just kind of use my.
No, I'm
I
gonna
can
do
give
that.
you real life examples.
I'm not gonna answer
Really,
any
I can.
questions once my book is out. I have no questions to answer for nobody. Can you tell me how to get over it? It's in the book. Go read the book. Go read the book. The book will tell you how to. You got a toothache? Go read my book. It's in my book. I'm telling you. It tells you exactly how to deal with that toothache, that stronghold that's
and,
on your
and
mouth.
and some of those people that I hear trying to address some of these issues, it's like it sounds like they read my book.
Coach, because Eric, you remember? I don't know what it was. I used to do something. You was like, "You been in my book?" I'm like, "I have not read it."
Yeah, yeah,
Get
yeah.
out of my
Some of them
book. I'm like,
sermons I heard, yeah, I was like, yeah, he
they
read
they read they've been
chapter
in my
3.
book. They've been in my book. That's chapter 5 in my book that he talking about. No, I think what's funny is life is just like that. It's so
Yeah.
relatable. We all have these experiences. The question is, or the diversity comes in the focus of how we acknowledge the experience. I think that's the process that when you look across all life, hurt is a factor for every human being. There's not one person breathing right now that can tell you they lived a life where they experienced or they know no hurt. It's just not real. It's unheard of. It's unorthodox. So it's like that's like also encountering a person that can say they've told no lie. Outside of Jesus, that's not it's not true. But
But now
here's the
I
thing:
have met somebody that said, "Oh, I haven't experienced any of that."
they
You
are a
know,
liar. They toxic.
yes,
That's
I
a
know.
toxic person. You met a toxic liar, and I hope
Very,
that.
very, very much so. I've never been broke. I've never
Oh,
been hurt. I've been happy all my life and had a good
oh,
family and this. And I was like, okay,
oh,
good, because that's not my experience.
man, that is a lie, and they lied. They lied. And I hate that they wasted their time telling that lie because that is not true. Uh, oh, look. There you go. I didn't mean to hit that button. That was so perfect. It was perfect timing. There you go. Next time they tell you that, you just think about that. They lied. Um, I've met people like that who operate like nothing is wrong. And I think the problem with toxic people is that, like today, this culture, society makes being toxic popular. It's like the to do thing. You're one of the most followed couples right now. To me, has the most toxic relationship, and we look up to things that are toxic. Everything has a problem. I mean, you're going to find an assignment in every relationship, aka a problem. But I don't think you should get to. I think things become toxic when we are holding on to, like you said, trying to resolve past issues from our life, and we're not letting things go. I think we think it's losing to say, you know what, let me free you. Let me set you free and be done with this relationship. And I think we expect for toxic relationships to only exist in those which we are in coupled with someone. But there's some folk that have toxic friendships. You can go to church and deal with toxic relationships. I think some of the most toxic relationships are in church.
Right, right.
I think, some of the most manipulative situations are experienced at church. Some people
But a
don't.
lot of times people can't get anything. They can't get promotions. They can't get anybody
Hmm.
to listen to them outside of the church. So when they come into the church, they want to
That's
walk
true.
around with all of this, and so yeah, they're very toxic.
And then when you're given something inside the church, it's almost like the ultimate validation. I'm
Right.
elevating
And
in
that's a
church.
lifetime appointment, or
Right.
something.
And now that toxicity becomes your weapon of choice. You spread it unintentionally. I don't think sometimes people are toxic in church by choice. It's just a matter of you've been hurt elsewhere so long, and you've become, it's like a functioning alcoholic. I believe there's functioning toxic people. They know how to function in that. They know how to deal in that, think in that, walk in that, breathe in that, and they know how to turn it on and turn it off. They know how to use it to their advantage and to others' disadvantage. And I think we have to be very careful of that, because once the problem with that is like cancer. It just spreads. It goes from one area to another. Then we start using the Bible with it. Then we start, isolating and separating by, whatever we desire, however we method or vehicle we desire to do that. And then you end up with all this negative stuff. And I think it comes from one being toxic and trying to be kingdom at the same time, or at least churchy at the same time.
Churchy. That's
So
the churchy. Yeah, because
yes,
a lot of times people like to whip you with the word. They may find one scripture and then they want to beat you all across the head with it.
tear your
You
back
know,
up with that scripture.
you know. But that's the only one they know. But anyway, they use that to their advantage.
tear
Yeah.
your
But
tear you off the frame with that scripture.
hmm
Boy, ain't
hmm
nothing funny than somebody whipping you with the Bible. It'd be real. Well, I mean, I
and
get
it'd
it.
be somebody that just 15 minutes ago they was in the world, and they want to come. They got this scripture, and now they want to. Oh, they
That one
just,
scripture that saved their life, they just tear your back up with it, boys. I listen. I've seen it happen. I think it's a trait of being in yet a toxic relationship. That's why for me, I don't care how much I love you, how many Sundays I see you. I just don't allow myself to get too close. In church settings or any setting like that, I don't like forced relationships. I've always appreciated natural relationships, meaning that
right,
we cool and I don't even know how we got cool. If I could tell you the first day you spoke to me and I spoke back, we probably, it's forced. So and I think that has blessed me, because against all odds, I've not ever had a bad relationship since learning how to do that. I'm limited. I don't have to tolerate too much, and I don't have to give too much as well. So I think sometimes we have to look at the natural progressive relationships, not the forced ones, not the ones where we
right,
we
right.
got to sign paperwork saying that as of this day we officially close. Like I've
Yeah.
learned to watch people that come to you with that type of stuff and forced
hmm
relationship, because my question then is, why are you forcing this so bad? What you pushing for? Let it happen. If we gonna be cool, we gonna be cool.
Right. And I think a lot of times, when people show you who they are, believe them. And so
I agree.
basically, that will help a whole lot of people when you're trying to force, like you say, trying to force a relationship, and they're clearly telling you, I don't want this,
Right.
then leave them alone.
And,
you
and I
know?
think sometimes it's like, I think we expect us from people, so we
Right.
measure people based on what we would do to people or who
Mhm.
we would be to people. I would never treat nobody like that, so
Right.
I'm just gonna assume they wouldn't treat me like that. But
Right.
you don't know. You don't know. And I always say, give people room to be their true self, because you're
Mhm.
gonna find in some relationships, for people who I have had naturally progressive relationships with, let me be clear, they showed their true colors, but they had enough room for us to work through that. I'm not saying you're not gonna have somebody that you cool with that they ain't gonna be no liar. They're gonna lie all the time, but you gonna be like, I'm cool with that. I know she be lying. You just know how to deal with them, and you ain't stuck on. I can't believe it. Did you just hear that? Gonna lie to my face? I love when
Mhm.
people get mad about that. You gonna lie to my face? Well, fam, where you want me to lie to? Your side? You want me to lie to your leg? You want me to lie to your toes? If I'm talking to you, I'm gonna have to be in your face. You're gonna have to get this lie, and we gonna have to move
Right.
on. But
Right.
if you have natural relationships, you have more room for something to go wrong. When you are forcing a relationship, you have no room for an error. You have, and that's not just in friendships. That's even when you with dating somebody that you shouldn't be with. When you are forcing any relationship, there's no room for grace.
Right,
There's
right,
just
right.
no room for it. You mad at the smallest thing. I
And
can
then
you
and then you're all messed up because you're so upset and mad all the time, and it's like, why they
right,
doing me like this, and why? But
right,
you're allowing it. So
right,
you need to get you together
right.
and get up out of that. Stop trying
Exactly.
to fix.
And then sometimes people think that you have a good relationship because your weakness met their strength.
Hmm.
If you know you like to be quiet and just let people run the show and they like to overrun the show, y'all still not healthy for each other. You're still no good for each other because at the end of the day, it's still toxic. No, y'all don't argue as much, but who gonna argue with somebody who validates or support their your inappropriate mindset, your wrongdoing? If I'm telling you I'm constantly scamming and you clapping for me every time I go and scam, that don't mean we good for each other. That just means you are, as a matter of fact, you are an enabler and you're a
Hmm.
hinderer.
Hmm.
But you have people like that get together. She ain't gonna say nothing. He gonna say too much, or he ain't gonna say nothing, and she gonna say too much, and they assume they have a really good relationship and that it's not toxic because they're not arguing.
But
And a
that's
to-
killing. But that's killing the person that's not saying anything because
oh yeah,
they're keeping all this internally,
yeah, oh
and
yeah.
it's really damaging to them.
I'm not gonna say nothing.
Because
Yeah,
somewhere that when you put a lot of water trying to go to a hose and you got the hose kinked, somewhere that hose gonna bust.
mhm.
Somewhere something got to come out. Now either you're gonna kill yourself from high blood pressure and ulcers and all this kind of stuff, or you gonna open up your mouth and say something, and then they're gonna be looking at you like, you talking to me like that? Yeah,
That's
it's
true.
about time.
That's true. That's true. That is true. All right. Well, listen. Share your thoughts on toxic relationships, and then join the conversation. I was gonna open the call line, let some folk call in, and share their thoughts. I don't know if this line is open though. I tell y'all what. Let me put this on here for y'all. Let's see who wants to add to this conversation. 346-550-3760. That's the number. Dial it in, dial it in, and then we'll take your call. We'll get you on the air, and then you share your thought. Tell us what you think about the 346. Y'all better write this number down: 550-3760. All right, y'all dial that number. Whoever called, we'll share it with you before we get off the air. But yeah. So, Coach Cheryl, now what do you do to avoid a toxic relationship? Like, how do you stay out of it?
Like I say, I have my boundaries. I done been through enough
Uh huh.
that I can spot it come when I see it coming. Now it depends on, well, no, if it's toxic, it's toxic. So and I just don't. I can be cordial to you, but we're
Uh
not gonna
huh.
be best of buds.
Right, right, right. We're not gonna be, and that's
Yeah,
me. I'm like that with any relationship. Me personally, it doesn't matter what kind it is. We can be cool, but we won't be close.
right, right.
All right, well that's it. That's the whole show. That's the whole show. All right, Coach Shara, I'm gonna let you do your final thought. We didn't play music because Facebook is tripping over here.
Yeah, I was about to say I missed the music today.
I know, because Facebook don't want to let us do it. If we do it, it's gonna pause us. So yeah,
Yeah, and then we be banned again,
yeah. You remember that
and then
happened?
people can't hear morning break.
There you go. Then they won't be able to break in the morning. So I'm gonna try to sneak some on as we go off, because at least we heading out. We heading out. Then they'll be like, yeah, but we'll be waiting on you tomorrow when you come back. But what's your thought for today?
Well, just learn um, when people show you who they are, believe them, and then leave them.
And
If
then
it's
leave.
toxic, you
Right.
know.
And then
But
leave
and
them.
don't be afraid of being by yourself, because sometimes you can learn a whole lot about yourself when you let God import and tell you who you are.
That's so true. That is true.
And then I
I
think you
believe.
can stand against anything when you really know who you are. Nobody can tell you anything different. Yeah.
I believe that. I believe that. I think, I'm just going to piggyback on what you said, Coach, because that sounds about right. That if you are in a situation where you're seeing someone for their true colors and who they really are, I would say this: it says less about you and more about them. Stop taking ownership for other people's flaws. Okay, that has nothing to do with you. It has a lot to do with them. And sometimes we can't make other people's truth our truth because then now you're living a lie. That issue is their issue and not yours. All right, this is another episode of Morning Break. You know I love to say this: you're not gonna break down. You are simply going to break through. All right,
Breakthrough.
family. Well, we'll see y'all Thursday. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays I think will be good. You think Tuesdays and Thursdays is good for us?
Probably so.
Or Tuesday,
At least,
Wednesday, and Thursday?
okay, whatever.
I guess we'll figure it out and then we'll let y'all
Yeah,
know.
yeah. We'll see what they need. Do they need Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Yeah, man,
and
right.
Friday?
And Friday and Saturday and Sunday. All right, family. We love y'all. We'll catch y'all next week.
All right.